8 to order at 6 o'clock. Jay, do you want to lead us in the flag salute?
Absolutely. Can everybody please stand, face the flag, and place your right hand on your heart?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Okay. Commissioner Camerata? Here. Commissioner Graff?
Here.
Commissioner Santos?
Here.
Commissioner Steinbach?
Here.
And I skipped Commissioner Dever, probably because I didn't see her. We're noting her absence, at least so far. Vice Chair Mattingly? Here. And Chair Stevens?
Here. Okay, now we'll go to the oral communications. Persons wishing to address the Planning Commission on subjects other than those scheduled are requested to do so at this time. Please provide your name and address for the record. In order to conduct a timely meeting, a 3-minute time limit per person has been established. Government Code Section 54954.2 prohibits the Planning Commission from discussing or taking action on a specific item unless it appears on the posted agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any written communications?
I received no written communications, and I don't know if there's anybody on the call. Just a moment.
Yeah, if I may. There was only one other speaker card left. I didn't have enough. I wanted to leave at least one in case somebody
sure.
wanted to speak.
Speak some here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Anyway, just real briefly, I just wanted to congratulate Brenda on assuming the chair position here. And Jay, I'm sure you'll do a good job. Got a great commission here. And I had already thought that. I didn't realize the change. But I did want to just thank you all for your service. I don't always agree, but you always treat me with respect, and I respect the decisions that are made in this body. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Is there any other speakers?
I think that's it.
Okay, then we'll have the approval of the minutes.
I motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, with
All
that,
in favor, say aye.
all in favor, say
Aye.
aye. We'll get through this, okay?
Forgot that.
Sorry.
On your check.
So now we'll go to item B, the 2023 Annual General Plan and Housing Element Progress Reports. It doesn't tell me who's presenting these. Oh. So did we just approve it?
Yeah, so when items are on, yeah, it's just for, the consent item includes the minutes and then the progress report, which is just for receive and file, not for approval.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve and consent?
Second.
Thank you.
And then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, then we'll move to the public hearings. A, discussion and consent of the amendment to conditional use permit number 310 for beer and wine sales for off-site consumption at 2301 Pacific Coast Highway in the commercial retail CR zone. Applicant is Kimberly Duncan and R. Bruce Evans, presented by Associate Planner McMorran.
Good evening, Chair Stevens. Good evening, Commission. Tonight, this application is pretty self-explanatory, so we forwent the PowerPoint, and I'll just kind of summarize what the application consists of. There's no new construction. This is strictly kind of a licensing arrangement, extending the hours for beer and wine sales for off-site consumption Sundays through Thursday from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. and from on Fridays and Saturdays from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. Staff went out to the project site. We have been in discussion with the applicant regarding just some really minor items that are part of review under section 11-160, and they've been very cooperative. We spoke with public safety. There's a limited history on this site because it has only been operating for a few years. It's a new facility, but the Sheriff's Department did not express any concern regarding extending the hours of operation. Staff did not receive any comments from the public. The only thing I would like to note is there's a change we're proposing and to the original resolution condition 58 regarding the hours, and then we're adding some specificity to be clear about how much of the store area is for sale of beer and wine for off-site consumption. So I believe, hold on, Mike. The proposed condition number 9 is just slightly being modified. Presently, 5 of the existing 12 coolers have beer and wine in them. And so on the original floor plan, they had identified 4 of 12. Want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and it's specific enough for future operators and staff to know what was approved and allowed in terms of floor area. This is an ancillary use to the primary use of a convenience store and gas station. With that, are there any questions I can answer for the commission?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your job.
She's so humble.
I know, and I do thank you for that. So, no, Chair Stevens, I have 2 quick questions. One is there was a couple of conditions in the original approval that referenced advertising and obstruction of the window view. I don't know if that's been addressed or if there's going to be any problems with that.
So all the conditions in the original resolution still remain intact and enforced, and with the window covering area, that was something we did bring up with the applicant, that it appeared that there was some signage that was, again, creeping into the the open space that they're expected to have. And I think it's going to work out with code enforcement or staff, planning staff, before code enforcement to get that brought into line.
Okay. So yeah, the storefront windows should be maintained free from any obstruction to allow maximum visibility. And the other was no advertising of alcohol should be visible from the exterior of the building. So if code enforcement has those 2 on the agenda, then that's good. On their radar is good. That's my only 2 issues.
We'll note that Commissioner Denver is absent. Commissioner Graff, do you have any questions?
Yeah, on the proposed COA 9, I don't know if it could be confused. That's a technicality, really. It says Sunday through Thursday, and and 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Now, does that roll into Saturday or does it roll into Sunday?
Excellent point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. So,
Because it should be 7 a.m. Friday till 1 a.m. Saturday, and 7 a.m. Saturday till 1 a.m. Sunday.
yeah, from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Sunday. Does that make sense? Is that?
Yeah, I believe you're stating the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nothing else, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Santos?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Steinbach?
Yeah, question for staff. The requirement to keep the windows clear, is that of advertising or just plain clear?
Our municipal code has a maximum window sign coverage area, and one of the reasons is, of course, for public safety. So people can see in, so if there's calls for service, first responders can see what's happening, and also because of aesthetics. So for all of those reasons, the maximum sign coverage area is not just, I think we wanted to be more specific in our, but it's no different than our code.
And the reason I bring that up is, not saying this applicant is going to do that, but product is the same thing as signage. So you can't have alcohol signs visible, but if you stack up 10 cases of beer in front of the window, it's the same thing. So is our code silent on that, or?
So with regard to their floor space for their alcohol sales, they just have two shelving areas opposite the coolers. So they won't be blocking the windows with cases of whatever the commercial brand of the day is.
So should they do that, that's an enforceable issue or not?
It is particularly from their CUP on where they're allowed to, how much area they're allowed to display or how much area they're allowed to have in terms of volume of their store's footprint.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Mattingly, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. I just have one. On the disturbance calls from 21 to 23, I've noticed that they went from 2 and 21 to 4 and 22 to 8 in 23. Was this due to, were these just unruly people? What was the disturbances? And were they so-called alcohol related?
No, the Sheriff's Department's information did not indicate that those were alcohol related. So hence I think why they did not find any reason to object to the applicant's request to extend the hour. They did tell me, I was actually asking for a little more granular information, whether or not there was some nexus between the late night hours and the calls for service. And what they said were a majority of the calls were between 5 a.m. and 1 p.m. So a good portion of that time, they are not selling alcohol.
Okay, thank you.
And when did that store open?
Could you repeat?
When did that store open? Wasn't it in 21? So
Yeah.
that's why that number's low.
Yes, thank you for noting.
Yeah, that was my only question. Okay, so with that, do we?
Madam Chair, I have one other question.
Sure.
I actually had highlighted item number 62 in the original resolution. which is as follows. Business owner must have readily identifiable personnel to monitor the premises and ensure that there's no loitering around the premises. Signage shall be installed stating loitering is prohibited, and employees shall be instructed to enforce the provision and call local enforcement if necessary. I know that there's been homeless in that parking lot over the last few months. I've seen them during the day there. I'm pretty sure the sheriff's been out of there in the last few days, but that's another concern that needs to be addressed as far as the
And Councilmember, or Planning Commissioner Camerata, if you can make sure that your mic stays on. I think you were tapping it.
Oh,
A little, so it
sorry,
was
I
going in
didn't
and
know.
out.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Is the applicant here? Do they want to speak?
Hi, good evening. My name is Bruce Evans. I represent 7-Eleven. I have Manny Sudwell. He's the franchisee of the store. In light of the favorable staff report, we don't intend on making a presentation. I did want to thank the planning department, Ms. McMorrin in particular, for her professionalism and responsiveness throughout the process. The issues that staff has brought up with us, the landscaping just came from the store. We think it looks pretty good, but they can use a few more plants to supplement it. We're taking care of that. We'll address the window signage. To answer your question, sir, about the alcohol display, the CUP requires that the display area of the alcohol be in the back of the store, away from the front. That's where the cooler doors are for the alcohol, and then the two display areas. So there's no chance that it can block the windows. So we'll work on addressing the issues that staff brought up and provide documentation that we take care of all that. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I guess one of the questions I had is the homeless issue. Have you noticed, or has the franchisee noticed, that they've been now formally addressed by the sheriff's department to make sure they're not hanging out there on the west wall?
Yeah, he can speak to that. I had the same question because we didn't have the details about the calls for service in the staff report. And so in asking the franchisee, their policy, if they have somebody that's loitering or bothering their customers, they do call the sheriffs. And we think that is the predominant numbers of what you see in the staff report. But certainly we can double down on those efforts. And can you answer his question?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Manveer Sudwal. I'm the franchisee. Yes, in the previous few months, we have seen an increased number of transients in the area, loitering or being around the business. So we do call the sheriff whenever that happens. The response is based off of, I guess, their availability. But we have noted that as well and take precautions to make sure they're removed.
Good, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? Do we have any public speakers? George Kivett?
Thank you once again, members of the Planning Commission. George Kivett, longtime Lomita resident. And overall, I like the feedback that the commissioners have provided. It's good to have the store in compliance with the original CUP, and if staff can make efforts to be that's assured would be great. I really appreciate Commissioner Graff's sharp eye on the hours and the days and hours and how that should be stated within the resolution. He's always got a sharp eye on those things, and I did like also. Just the input that there should be no loitering and that should be addressed on a timely basis. On the landscaping, I'm not sure exactly where any additional landscaping would be placed, but I've spoken on numerous applications that I just don't like any new or increased landscaping to block especially egress, people leaving the site. I want people to have clear lines of sight as they're pulling out, and even coming into the property. So if that could just be, if necessary, a consideration. But overall, as far as extending the hours, I am familiar with 7-Eleven. I have even in the past had a 7-Eleven client. And I think it's very reasonable what they're asking for in regards to the hours. People nowadays, you get people working all different shifts and what have you. And I think the 7 to midnight and the 12 to 1 a.m. are well within reason. And I would suggest approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Commissioner Camerata, do you have any further?
Before we take a vote, can we get a reread on the hours so that we're clear on the language?
What are the proposed,
And the
language of COA 9?
So basically, instead of stating them by each night, stating them by the actual day as of midnight.
however you want to word it so that it's clear.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Steinbach?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Let's make a motion.
Yeah, these are breaking.
I move that we approve resolution number PC 2024-5 as presented and amended by staff.
I will second that
Or
motion.
clarified. I don't want to say amended, clarified?
Clarified.
Okay.
I will second the motion as long as we get that language before we do a final vote.
We'll rewrite it in the resolution.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we'll move on to public hearing 4B, discussion and consideration of general plan amendment 2024-01, zoning text amendment number 2024-02, and zoning map amendment number 2024-01 for 24925-25007 Walnut Street. Do I have to read the APN numbers? Sorry. Applicant is City of Lomita, presented by Associate Planner McMorrin.
Thank you again, Chair Stevens. So the proposed specific plan zone change and general plan amendment involve 4 lots on the west side of Walnut Street, slightly south of Lomita Boulevard. At this time, there's no new construction proposed. This is, in essence, a retroactive entitlement or a cleanup, as you will. So a little bit of background. The existing use is a 78-unit multifamily development known as Lomita Manor. It is 1.86 acres. There are 2 buildings on the site. Presently, the land use designation is public open space. And while this is publicly owned property, it is not publicly accessible property. A better fit for the use is what it is actively done. It's a multifamily development and fits with the density with a specific plan for residential high density designation. The zoning also is inconsistent with the use. It is currently zoned R1. And to bring it into consistency, in conjunction tonight, there's going to be proposed the Lomita Manor specific plan. Just here's a site plan for curiosity. Also, the development standards in the specific plan were based on the existing site and the existing elevation. So to make the findings for approval, there needs to be consistency with the proposed change and the general plan. There are numerous policies, goals that align with this application in the land use and housing elements. You know, it clearly, we're implementing development standards where there are none. We are planning for the orderly growth and development. There is one vacant lot. There are no plans for new construction at this time, or that I know of any time in the future. But there is a plan now. This application preserves and allows for the rehab of housing for low-income households. It properly designates the land use as residential property. We're establishing, again, objective design standards where there are none. And this is important should there ever need to be a rebuild or anything else built there, even accessory structures. And it is consistent with the housing element, which calls for the rezoning of property for RHNA shortfall, Regional Housing Needs Assessment shortfall. The project should be recommended as exempt from CEQA because there is no new construction proposed. It's not envisioning, there's no potential for environmental impacts that can be foreseen. And as well as this is a zoning change in a land use designation, it's akin to permitting the use, which already exists. Again, this kind of retroactive cleanup procedural matter we need to attend to. So the Planning Commission options tonight are approved to council as recommended, or recommend to council with changes, or do not recommend approval to city council. I'm here for questions.
Thank you, Laura. Commissioner Camarada, do you have?
No questions at this time.
Commissioner Santos? Commissioner Graff?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. On the vacant lot size, how many units could be allowed on that based on the zoning, the new zoning?
So the density for the site in total is 54 units an acre. Right, so how I calculated that was I took the 3 lots which Lomita Manor is on, and then divided, found out what percentage of an acre that was, and then found the density for those 3, which then now will apply to the vacant unit on the south as well. So we're staying consistent as a project whole. And then I guess that's what I can say is if the maximum would be 54, the pragmatic answer is it's a long, deep lot. And designing that might be very challenging with access because it's narrow. So the minimum is 19.8 an acre.
Yeah, but based on the current, which is 54 something?
Up to.
Up to 54.
Right.
How many units would that allow on that particular piece of property?
It's an approximately 18,000 square foot lot. So let's just say that's for easy math, 40% of an acre. And so 40 times 54. It's a multi-story building.
40, pardon me?
40% times 54, so we're at 21.
Okay. But realistically, because of the layout, it's...
Realistically, I haven't done we don't have a proposal. I haven't done any sort of design or thought about it, but I appreciate the question.
Yeah, I understand that because there's no plans or whatever. Now, that being part of the specific project, that property would need to be developed by the city of Lomita, is that correct?
It's city-owned. I mean, it's housing authority-owned. And
Yeah, but that's, yeah, okay. And so if they were to do that, is it specific, there's no specificity with regard to income other than what's currently there? It would carry over as far as if there was a development there?
I don't know the answer to that, but from the perspective of what the housing authority has in place with HUD. So the foundation, the original agreement for development, I don't know how that fourth lot ties in.
Okay, thank you.
But just to specify too, that this approval doesn't affect any change in that.
Thank you. Commissioner Steinbach?
Yes, thank you. So just to clarify, as it stands, those are the numbers we'd be playing with if they wanted to do anything with it, but they can always create something to work if they want to expand. My question to staff when I came in today, and I thought it's good to bring it up, is reading through it all and trying to see a downside to it. And my concern is because of the use of the current use of the property and income levels of people there and what they're paying in rent and services and so forth, you know, it's a pretty thin line. So I want to make sure that nothing we do here is going to negatively impact that. And all of a sudden, lease prices are going to go up and any of that. And I was assured that nothing changes. This is just a cleanup ordinance to get it more in line with what it's supposed to be and actually put them in a better position to get relief, federal relief. Is that what you're saying?
If the housing authority makes any applications for anything, you know, on applications, they want to know if you're consistent, right? Would you have the right to rebuild?
And if we had a natural disaster calamity out there and you wanted to redo it, if it's not inconsistent with the general plan, you wouldn't be able to put it back. So this is a big deal without being a big deal.
Yeah, because it's currently R1.
Right, right.
So that means if we pass this tonight and there's an idea that they want to expand and put another building there, they can, as long as it doesn't exceed 18, 19 units per.
Or get relief from the requirements.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay.
No brainer.
All right.
Vice Chair, do you have anything? Okay. And I don't have anything on it as well. It's just a cleanup moving forward. So with that, we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers? I have George Gibbet. Okay.
Hi, George. Long time no see.
Again, thank you for your attention. I like what I heard as far as bringing it into consistency. And I like the idea that it would allow the rebuild of the facility. I'm a big believer in, a lot of times, I deal with a lot of weird properties. And sometimes you got residential uses on a commercial property, and without a rebuild letter, if the property were to burn or whatever, the people were, excuse the language, but they're shit out of luck. And I like that it would be within the general plan and such that it would be allowed to rebuild if they had to. The property does serve a vital need in the community, and if there were a modest addition to the property, I would have no problem with that as long as the density was consistent with what's there at the site now. So as a longtime resident of Lomita, I would hope that the commission would approve this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kibbet. And any further speaker cards? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Steinbach? Commissioner Graf?
No.
Commissioner Kamara?
No.
Commissioner Santos? Vice Chair Mattingly? And I have nothing, so with that,
With that,
I'd like to make a motion.
I've got the motion.
that was fast.
I would like to make a motion that the item 4B, General Plan Amendment 2024-01, Zone Text Amendment 24-02, and Zoning Map Amendment number 2024-1 for 24825 to 25007 Walnut Street be approved as submitted.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, now on to 4C, discussion and consideration of a request for a zone text amendment to amend to section 11-1.48.02, principal uses permitted of Article 48, commercial residential, Chapter 1, zoning of Title 9, planning and zoning of the Lomita Municipal Code regarding the restriction of service-based uses on the ground floor of commercial shopping centers with over 5,000 square feet. Applicant filed by David Nazarati. Applicant presented by Erica. And I think this one was moved.
Yes, so the applicant requested that this item be continued to the next meeting.
Okay, sorry about that.
I have a question. Isn't this, have we continued this a couple of times?
I've not continued this item a couple times, but they have been before you within the past year.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, yes.
Question, do we need to move to move it until next month? Or do we just?
To continue.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We continue, we can, do the motion, but before that,
We had advertised.
Do we have any speakers on this matter?
George Kivett?
Well, the request was to continue the item, but as a general rule, I do not like overly restrictive, things, items that restrict the use, say on the ground floor of a commercial space. I had a heck of a time leasing that corner at Norbonne and Lomita Boulevard. It took over a year. If it would have been allowed to be an office-type use, many different uses, other than the very narrow range of uses that were allowed, that site would have been leased over a year earlier. And I don't like overly restrictive covenants as far as that goes. And I'll leave it at that. And thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll close the public hearing and bring it back. Commissioner Camerata, do you have, I guess, we just need to make a motion, right?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Continued. Okay. So with that, it looks like we go to scheduled matters. Communications regarding city council actions.
Yeah, so there's actually been quite a lot since we all last met. First off, you're probably heard, but last week City Council they approved a contract for the new city manager, who will be starting May 1st. Comes from the city of Paramount as their assistant city manager, and I believe has already communicated with Ryan, and the council members are excited about it. So he'll be our city manager by the next time we meet. They also, City Council did unanimously approve not only the the cost report for the demo of 2257 PCH at the corner on PCH. And so city staff is moving forward with our city attorneys on actually placing that lien on that property. It was almost $60,000 that the city spent to get it all demolished in total, including staff time. City Council also approved the ADU height zoning text amendment, and as a result of that, you will likely at your next meeting be seeing the CUP application for the person who initiated the zoning text amendment, so you can review their actual specific request. City Council also approved the the tentative track map for the 9 units, and then also the tentative track map and final map for the 16 units right here behind Burning Daylight. So they went with all of your recommendations, just as you recommended.
Thank you, Brianna. Upcoming developments and businesses.
Nothing new to report, everything on track as of last time. Notably, Grocery Outlet and Target, we're working to still get that July opening.
So how is the city reacting to the 99 cent store closing?
Yeah, we haven't met on it because I think it happened
Friday.
Thursday, Friday, yeah. But that is a site that's in our upcoming to be adopted general plan update that could be redeveloped into 70 units per acre at mixed use.
The whole site?
That node of Narbonne Avenue at PCH where the 99 cent store is
Including the old
located.
bank location and?
What was that?
Including the old bank location?
Yes.
Because that bank was going to go into 2 restaurants, right?
It was, and then that got
Fell through.
abandoned.
So,
Yeah.
That developers met with us and they're interested in options after the general plan gets approved formally.
So what about the existing businesses that are there, the restaurant, what is it, the Nook and then the ice cream, Cold Stone?
Yeah, they can stay unless a developer comes in and consolidates the lots.
Put them over to the mixed-use side, maybe?
What was that?
They can move them over to the mixed-use side if they're going to develop it into a mixed-use lot.
They absolutely could, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Same thing with the
But
northwest corner.
is there a fact that 99 Cent Store is also working on some kind of a plan to stay? Because that was in the news today. That actually,
I
I heard
haven't heard that
Target.
news
I heard Target is trying to invest money to keep 99 Cent Store. But
I
that's
haven't
just on
seen
the
the news
outside.
today, I suppose.
The owners of that
in the
corporation is closing
I realized, but there was talk about possibly Target saving it.
The previous CEO of, I can't remember, anyway, who's with Pick and Save. Pick and Save is talking to get quite a few of the Southern California locations to keep them.
Okay.
Didn't Pick and Save, wasn't it Pick and Save before it was the 99 cent store?
I don't know.
Yes.
It was
think it
Camelot
But
Drugs.
it's Pick and Save bargain now.
It was Camelot
And
before
Pick
it
and
was
Dra-
99 Cent
Cam-
Store.
No,
Camelot
I mean
and
that
Pick and Save.
corporation that owns 99 cent store was
Oh.
originally Pick and Save.
Oh, I don't know.
And my only concern is that corner is so trashy. I mean, I hope that with the addition of the grocery store going in there, that there's some major upgrades, because it's really an eyesore through our city. I mean, it's just crazy, so.
And then there's no news on the other corner where the bank is and the hardware store?
I just found that those, they're being put up for lease as 2 separate units online. But I'm sure in this climate, the right developer coming through could have a conversation to purchase.
And what
Because
about
that's
the
the same thing,
corner
up to
where
70 units per
CVS is
acre.
going out of business?
What was that?
What about the CVS lot?
Yeah, we haven't received requests on that either. I also, just in case you're going to ask, the U.S. Bank, former U.S. Bank, Councilmember Sagawa notified me today that there's new fencing around it, but we also haven't received inquiry on that in probably over a year, I think. The last idea was abandoned.
It's the corner of Cypress and PCH.
Right.
Oh, I was talking about the CVS on Narbonne and PCH. It's the big lot.
Right, because there's 2 and it's going to be closing. We haven't received any inquiries or anything about it yet,
Is that
though.
property owned by CVS, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find that out.
And doesn't that include the lot behind it between the apartment building that's vacant? I think there's a,
It's a separate one.
it's separate from that corner?
If I'm talking about the same one as you are, yes, that is separate property.
Okay, thank you for that.
But that's, I'm sorry, that's commercial, is that right?
It will be available for mixed-use development upon general plan approval this fall.
Soon.
Yes.
And then I guess my other question is, have you had any feedback from any of the restaurants about the new $20 minimum wage? Any fallout from any of those restaurants yet in Lomita?
I haven't heard anything. I don't know if you have.
There was a prospective, some restaurant in the fast food category, I wouldn't even call it a restaurant, that inquired, and then they got cold feet because of.
A sit-down restaurant or a fast food?
No, it's fast, it applies to my understanding as fast food is the minimum wage regulations, and that was more like fast food that they inquired.
It's fast food only. A sit-down restaurant doesn't have to have that, do they? I know.
It's fast food.
Because I'm not plastic.
How long they sit. Yeah, no, I was just curious if there was any fallout from anybody yet. Okay.
Okay, so with that, we will move on. Any staff announcements?
Yes, you all were copied out an email about the mural, the first city-sponsored mural that went up at Lomita Park. It's formally being unveiled at the Anti-Gang and Drug-Free Walk on April 25th, but it is up there now if you want to go see it. Emailed you all the time-lapse video the artist created from it. The other thing is there was a tragedy you probably have heard of about a week ago at 2110 PV Drive North with a fire of a 25-unit condominium building. Code enforcement, myself, we've been, planning staff, we've largely took up most of our week last week trying to work with the HOA president, who kind of serves as the property manager, on how they can move forward, because as of right now, of the 25 units, I believe it was 18 were red tagged, with the remaining being yellow tagged. So I've been working with Mike Dorder of LA County Building and Safety. We actually attended all day Friday a resource center that the Red Cross set up, and we were there at the church next door to talk with residents about how they can move it back into their yellow tagged units, or what will happen moving forward with the red tagged units. So we've been in consistent contact with them.
Well, I can tell you from my personal experience, thank God I wasn't one of my properties, and I'm glad nobody go through their insurance company, and for the units that are red tagged, they'll have to be rebuilt. So I've been through that multiple times with a fire, with plane crashes, so I know what they're going through. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take them a little bit of time, but thank God nobody was hurt.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Commissioners, do we have anything to discuss?
I have one other question for you under item 6B. I noticed in the e-letter the last couple of months under mark your calendar, you don't show the planning commission meeting listed anymore. Didn't know if you guys recognize that or realize that.
I'll alert the city manager's office.
It's been that way for a few months now. It seems like
Yeah.
you skipped the planning commission
That's
meetings.
why, maybe that's why we have
In the e-letter,
the biweekly email.
yeah, they've got, I don't know, maybe 2 months now, 3 months. I noticed it's not in there.
I'll alert Lena and make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay.
I have a question. When does the city manager start?
What is it?
When, May 1st? Okay.
You have anything to say?
I want to thank staff for a quick response to the graffiti on Oak and PCH. I don't know how long does it take from the time you guys get the call to get somebody out there, like right away? Or?
Well, now that we have 2 full-time officers, I'd venture to say twice as fast.
No, because I saw it and then came by a day later and it was gone, so that was good.
Well, and as of this weekend, our permissive removal program went into effect, where property, and no one has signed up yet. Working with the city attorneys on making sure everything's final, but no one still has inquired. But there is at least there's one priority property that has an entitlement that a prior planning commission, Lomita Planning Commission approved, that we're, per code, allowed to take back to you all to review because they have not been addressing the graffiti on their building that is seen by many, and we constantly receive complaints about. So you'll probably be seeing that soon, likely in June. But
So this business is a contractor.
it's AT&T.
I mean, they're in construction, and this thing sat there if I had graffiti on my wall, I'd be out there the next morning painting it myself, and they have the resources inside of their building to do it. I was really disappointed in that.
I've seen a lot of those as well. They complain about it, but so you go out and you clean it off. I mean, it's your property, right?
It's a white wall. You could have painted it in half an hour, and they have the paint there to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
East on PCH, there must have been 5 buildings that were tagged, all on the north side, from Hottentot all the way up to, like from Pennsylvania all the way to maybe Cyprus, just on every big side wall that was 5-6 feet letters all the way up the whole side. And a couple of them had it out the next day, but some of them hadn't gotten it taken care of. It was just one of those things where all of a sudden you just get a rash of it.
Yeah.
Do you have pretty good response from the owners of the buildings as far as cleaning it up, or does the city have to do it and charge them, or how does that work? I mean,
Both. I'd say percentage-wise, we do have decent response, probably over 50%, where they take care of it.
Okay, and then I guess our last item is one that we all know and love.
excuse me, I've got one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have you had any update on Target? Is it still July? Or is
Yep, we've been, I've been communicating with SCE to keep that going. It's kind of hindering on that, so we're doing everything the city can in its power, no pun intended, to get them open by July. No laughs? Okay.
Still on track.
Yeah.
One final question. Have you guys heard what caused the fire on those?
Yeah, so they are investigating that, so.
The rumor was it was in the transformer that blew on the pole.
I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, that was the initial.
I heard it was a kitchen.
That was the initial.
That's all I know.
But you know, no, never mind. I'm not going to say it.
Well, it went up into the attic, because these are old buildings.
They're very old buildings, and they're very non-up to code.
Separated, and they don't have sprinklers, and, all kinds of
They're,
things.
they're old.
Yeah, it was built in 81.
81?
That's not our job, you guys. So we need a volunteer to go to the council meeting. Oh, no.
It's the chair.
They've reneged those. Anybody want to go?
Well, I think, why don't we wait for council or somebody or staff to review that, so we weren't going to worry about it?
That's right, they were going to do board-wide.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
well, if anybody would like to go and see what's going on, please feel welcome. And then before I adjourn, I just want to say thank you all for helping me through my first meeting. I don't think I did too bad. So with that, we will adjourn the meeting. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Nice job, Brenda.